It's coming.
All these voices. All these voices. All these things you can't explain. All these painful memories. They keep haunting you. It's daunting me. It's just a ghost of you and me. It's just a smoking gasoline. It's just a ghost of you and me. Of you and me. All these whispers.
My name is James Hershey. Right back.
All these shadows in my mind. From my reflections I can't find. It's just a ghost of you and me. It's just a smoking gasoline. It's just a
That ought to
ghost
do
of
it.
you and me. Of you and me. Don't let 'em take you away. Don't let 'em bring you down inside. It's just the mirrors in your mind. Don't let 'em bring you down.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Staring into the Abyss. My name is horror author James Hershey Jr., and with me, as always, my co-host, old boy James Ash. How you doing, brother?
Doing pretty good. How is everyone?
Tonight's episode is going to be kind of cool because it's one that deals with history, and it deals with science, and it deals with a little bit of fantasy as well. It's going to be a fun one. What we're going to do in this episode is I want to go over 3 different articles, and then I want to talk a little bit about what they mean, and then we'll just kind of go back and forth a little bit discussing them. The first one, the title of this article is Scientists Reawaken Cells from a 28,000-year-old woolly mammoth. And this article was in the vintagenews.com. And this article is from March 16th, 2019, and was written by Stephen Andrews. It's Stefan. The last surviving woolly mammoth died out some 3,600 years ago, after the species began its certain decline at the end of the last ice age, more than 11,000 years ago. However, scientists today are well in the game to restore this huge prehistoric mammal back among the living. A team of Japanese scientists led by biologist Kazuo Yamagata from the Kendai University in Japan has managed to extract the nuclei from mammoth cells and transplant them into a mouse. Within the experiment, the cells did show signs of life, although their activation was limited. The cells belong to a 28,000-year-old mammoth carcass known as Yuka, who at the time of her death would have been 7 years old. The results of this groundbreaking scientific undertaking were presented in the journal Scientific Reports on March 11, 2019. Yuka, which was retrieved from the permafrost of Siberia in 2010, is one of the most pristine mammoth specimens to have been discovered. Organic matters such as animal carcasses are indeed best preserved in the permafrost environment. Cocooned in severely cold temperatures, help soft tissues such as skin, fur, or brain to survive. Regardless of the fact that an astonishing amount of time has passed, Yuka turned out well. Scientists managed to take out 88 nucleus-like structures from the creature's muscle tissue. Then they inserted the nucleic material into the mouse oocytes, the immature eggs, female sex cells, which are produced in the ovaries. In order to ensure reliability of the experiment, the team also implanted cells from an elephant to a control sample. Upon incubation, some of the mammoth cells were active, although only for a brief period of time. They completed certain processes that take place before actual cell division, including the accurate arrangement of chromosomes to spindle structures before a cell gets split into 2. Mammoth cell division, however, did not occur. In the reconstructed oocytes, the mammoth nuclei showed the spindle assembly, histone incorporation, and partial nuclear formation. However, the full activation of nuclei for cleavage was not confirmed, explained the paper's abstract. The scientific effort attests that biological activity can be initiated among cells of creatures that have been dead for a very long time, but that does not mean that the woolly mammoth will be roaming around the planet sometime soon. De-extinction researcher and one of the study's authors, Kai Miyamoto, told Japanese media that we still have a long way to go. Most excited are, of course, the scientists who have dedicated entire careers to the prospect of bringing extinct species back to life. That the cells implanted with genetic material from yucca showed at least partial signs of life is seen as a major breakthrough, proving that reactivation of dead cells is not impossible. Though the full process of cell division was not accomplished, this partial success was an improvement, a progress from 2009, when another team used similar methods and a carcass that was only 15,000 years old. Working on an even better preserved sample that yucca could, in theory, support the next stage of cell division and additional cellular functions, such as replication and transcription of DNA. More advanced technology that is currently at our disposal may also be needed for such an undertaking. The reasons why woolly mammoths vanished from the Earth in the first place have not been fully agreed upon either, but many attribute climate change that came with the ending of the last ice age. The rising temperatures likely threatened the majority of mammoth habitats, and they began to die out. Some of the last woolly mammoth populations survived in remote regions of Siberia until approximately 9,650 years ago. The very last of the kin surprisingly made it until 1650 BC in an isolated environment on Wrangel Island in the Arctic Ocean. After them, this giant prehistoric mammal completely disappeared. Early humans may have also contributed to the woolly mammoth demise, hunting them for food and other resources such as their tusks and warm fur. So that's basically the article. It goes on a little bit more, but that's all the science part of it. This is an amazing article. In all reality, it is an amazing breakthrough, because understand what they've done here. They took a cell from a woolly mammoth carcass that was 28,000 years old, and they got that cell to come back to life. Okay, they put it in a mouse, and they were able to get this thing alive again. Now, it did not divide, which is crucial if you want to make an actual woolly mammoth. You have to have cell division. You also have to have the replication of DNA, because when the cell divides, it has to know what kind of cell it is, right? So you have to have that replication of DNA so that it knows that it's a woolly mammoth, and it will produce more woolly mammoth cells. You don't have that either. But just the fact that you could bring a cell back to life at one point in time was completely unheard of. It is a major, major scientific breakthrough in my opinion. So that is the first article. They're trying to bring a mammoth back to life. They've got as far as bringing one cell back to life, but they couldn't get it any further. The second article is also about bringing woolly mammoths back to life, but it's in a different way. This one was in OutdoorRevival.com. It's from November 14, 2018. It was written by Doug Williams. And the title of this article is "The Return of the Mammoth May Be Sooner Than You Think." According to the Siberian Times, reborn Ice Age animals may soon roam the earth again. Azin Nikolov, the head of the Yakutia region of Russia, has plans for a park filled with Ice Age creatures that used to be native to the area. Yakutia, which is also known as the Sakha Republic, is the largest region of the Russian Federation and is currently best known for its diamonds. That may change, however, as an international team of scientists is working to bring the woolly mammoth back from extinction. Nikolov says that the team of Russian, North Korean, and Japanese scientists expect to succeed in their efforts within the next 10 years. He first had the idea for a park where now extinct animals can roam in the wild back in 2014, and says that at the time people laughed at him, but it's not so fantastical today. He went on to say, today technology is developing at an explosive pace, and what yesterday seemed like scientific nonsense, today is an absolute clear prospect for scientists. I believe that miracles are possible. Scientists have been pursuing the idea of cloning the mammoth for several years. In 2015, Live Science ran an article discussing the progress of the analysis of the mammoth genome. Scientists have discovered the adaptations that enabled the mammoth to prosper in much colder climates than their elephant cousins. These discoveries could pave the way for cloning the mammoth, or at least a hybridized elephant with mammoth characteristics, according to Vincent Lynch, who is an evolutionary biologist at the University of Chicago and one of the scientists involved in the study of the genome. Lynch's work was done using mammoth DNA extracted from the hair of two mammoths that were discovered a few years before the study began. One was 30,000 years old and the other was 60,000 years old. Because mammoths are very closely related to Asian elephants, it should be possible to edit the elephant genes with the mammoth DNA that gives the ancient pachyderms their particular distinctive features, such as their small ears, thick woolly coats, and short tails, all of which are genetic mechanisms to help reduce the loss of body heat in cold environments. Lynch's team also found that there were genetic differences in the way mammoths processed insulin and stored fat, which also allowed for adapting to extreme cold. Once they have successfully inserted the relevant mammoth DNA into an elephant embryo that can be implanted in a surrogate elephant mother, they hope that the resulting offspring will have the mammoth characteristics. The scientists in Yakusha are focusing on working out the gene editing and cloning. The Yakusha region was a native habitat for the woolly mammoth, and mammoth bodies are discovered pretty regularly as ice melts and uncovers their remains. Aizen Nikolov has said, "We just need to take care of a number of consequences linked to the search of raw materials. We are seeing now that every year brings more and more high-quality mammoth remains." He also said he feels confident, given the speed at which genetic technologies are developing, that they will have success soon. Teams of scientists from South Korea are working on trying to similarly clone extinct cave lions, using DNA found from the remains of two very well-preserved baby cave lions, also from Yakusha. Scientists from Russia and South Korea are also exploring the possibilities of cloning a currently extinct breed of horse, which also dates from the Ice Age and lived in the same area. The Yakusha region is already home to Pleistocene Park, which is an attempt to recreate the ecosystem of the Mammoth Steppe. It is unclear from Nikolov's remarks whether his hope is to establish another park or if he hopes to populate the one that already exists. So that is the end of that article. In both, they're trying to bring the mammoth back, but in this one, they are also trying to bring back cave lions, which were a very vicious and very strong version of the lion from back in the Ice Age. Those things were no joke. And they're also trying to bring back a horse that was alive in the Ice Age. So it's like they're actually trying to build like an Ice Age Jurassic Park kind of deal, where they have several different species that were actually around in the Ice Age. It's kind of a cool idea in a way, but I didn't think Jurassic Park would be a very good idea, and I don't think this was a very good idea. But that was the second article. Now, the third article is going to go kind of along these lines, but it's going to go even further. Further back in time and further with the idea. This article was on scienceinsanity.com. It's from March 14, 2019. And the title of it is "Scientists Say That They Can Recreate Living Dinosaurs Within the Next 5 Years." Dinosaurs could potentially walk among us in real life soon, as the paleontologist who inspired the original Jurassic Park movie has announced a research project to bring the extinct creatures back to life. Dr. Jack Horner says scientists are only 5 to 10 years away from genetically engineering dinosaurs into existence. According to a report by People, Horner is working with scientists at Harvard and Yale, looking to the closest living relatives of dinosaurs in the hopes of reverse engineering them. Of course, birds are dinosaurs, Horner said, so we just need to fix them so they look a little more like a dinosaur. Horner and his team will reportedly begin with the modern-day chicken, which is widely considered a direct descendant of the massive beast that once dominated the Earth. Horner has consulted on all 4 Jurassic Park films. In a behind-the-scenes interview from the first movie in the franchise, writer Michael Crichton confessed that the hero, Dr. Alan Grant, was an amalgam of Horner and Philip J. Curry. The 71-year-old paleontologist said that when he first began work on the movies, he believed dinosaurs would be revived in the same way they are in the film, through preserved bits of their DNA taken from fossils. However, in the years since, he and his colleagues have come to better understand how DNA degrades over time, and determined that this is not the course they will have to take. As Horner sees it, the chicken and many other modern birds have the genetic code of their dinosaur ancestors stored within their own DNA. He believes they will be able to manipulate that code to reverse the evolutionary process, forcing mutations that will express more and more of those ancient characteristics. Dinosaurs had long tails, arms, and hands, and through evolution they've lost their tails, and their arms and hands have turned into wings, Horner explained to reporters. Additionally, their whole snout has changed from the velociraptor look to the bird-like beak morphology. Horner said he hopes his work will determine a way to flip a switch in such a way that will get these ancestral characteristics back. Horner cited a 2015 study as his proof of concept, noting that scientists at Harvard and Yale were able to trick a bird's head into changing into a dinosaur snout. Basically, what we do is we go into an embryo that's just beginning to form and use some genetic markers to sort of identify when certain genes turn on and when they turn off, he said. And by determining when certain genes turn on, we can sort of figure out how a tail begins to develop. And we want to fix that gene so it doesn't stop the tail from growing. Horner was completely confident that some form of what he called a chickensaurus will be walking the earth within 10 years. We can make a bird with teeth, and we can change its mouth, he said. And actually the wings and hands are not as difficult. We're pretty sure we can do that soon. The project is no simple task, however, and Horner noted that the tail is the biggest project. But on the other hand, we have been able to do some things recently that have given us hope that it won't take too long. And that is the end of that article. So basically in this one, they're not trying to take dead cells and bring them back to life. They're not trying to take DNA that they have found in fossilized remains and somehow clone or produce a dinosaur from that like they did in the movie. Their idea is that they can take the modern chicken, go into the genome of the chicken, and genetically modify that genome so that they can turn on and off the different things that make a dinosaur. A couple hurdles, I think, to that would be you'd have to have completely mapped the chicken genome. I don't know if that's been accomplished or not. We have mapped the majority of the human genome. We've probably done some other species as well, so I don't know on that one. I don't know if that's been done yet. It's not a very easy undertaking to do. It takes many, many years and a lot of resources. So once you map the genome, that's only the first step. After that, you have got to isolate the individual genes that cause a tail to happen. And it's not going to be just one. It's going to be a series of them. You have to figure out which ones work together to cause that tail to work properly, to look the way it's supposed to look, all that kind of stuff. And then you got to figure out how to turn them on and off in the right sequence to make it happen. And you have to do that with every little bit of the dinosaur you want to build. Okay, if you want it to have the dinosaur beak, if you want it to have the teeth, if you want it to have the little stubby arms, all of that are separate parts of the genome that they're going to have to figure out where they are, what they are, how to make them work. And then, even after you've done all that, then it's still going to be a process to get actual dinosaurs. Because remember, we're starting with a chicken. So it's not like you're going to take a adult chicken, hit it with a ray gun, and it's going to turn into a giant 100-foot, T-Rex or something. It's just not going to happen that way. What's going to happen is they're going to do it in the egg. And they're going to try to make the offspring of that chicken a little dinosaur, basically. Now, most likely that's not going to happen all in one shot either. It's going to be several steps, several generations to get each little piece going right. But let's say you finally get the finished product where you're going to have the complete dinosaur the way you want it. When it's born, it's still going to be tiny because it's coming from a normal chicken. So what you're going to have to do is going to have to raise a couple of these so that they can have offspring of their own over and over and over again. You see what I'm saying? Generation by generation by generation, in order to slowly grow the size of that dinosaur into what it's supposed to be, a big scary dinosaur. Because you're not going to get a big scary dinosaur out of a tiny little chicken. That egg's not going to hold that big giant dinosaur. It's going to hold a small tiny dinosaur. And slowly over generations you're going to grow it until you get a proper dinosaur egg out that will be able to produce a full-size dinosaur. It'll take a long time is what I'm saying, if it can even be done. The second hurdle to this, I think, is the assumption that chickens evolved from dinosaurs. Now that's what science believe has happened. They believe that today's birds are the relatives of the prehistoric dinosaurs. That's what they believe. I don't know. We do have some fossilized remains that tell us that dinosaurs had feathers. A lot of dinosaurs had feathers. They weren't these lizardy looking things that most people thought that they were. Not all species, at least. But I still think it's kind of a leap to be able to say that, because we don't even know for sure that evolution is true. Okay, it's a theory. It's a theory of evolution. It's not scientific law. We don't know for sure. You are probably shocked that I said that. You're probably like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. But it's true. It's taught as law, but it's not law. It is a theory. We still have no missing link. as far as like man evolving from apes. There is no missing link. And there's also been a study done recently that found that evolution that theory doesn't really hold water. One day I will do a show on that article and really break that down for you. But the basic gist of it was that they've kind of proven that the whole idea of being one creature and evolving into another creature is not true. It's been shown that basically you had, after the flood, kind of had the same amount of species that you have now. And if you go back in the DNA of each of these different species, they've kind of always been what they are. There's not a whole lot of difference. And that is groundbreaking. Now, you're not going to hear a lot about that study, but there was absolutely an article in a scientific magazine about it. And I read the article, and it really proved that evolution isn't right, which is something I've been saying for a long time. Not just because of the religion thing, but to me, it didn't make any sense. When a creature evolves, the whole idea of that is that it has to evolve in order to survive, right? Something about its environment, it needs to evolve to be better adapted to that environment. So whatever creature it was before it evolved couldn't survive well enough in that environment. That's why it evolved. So if you got apes, and supposedly we evolved from apes, then why the hell are there still apes? If it was something that we had to evolve into us to survive properly, because our increased brain power, our increased knowledge, was our ability to adapt to our surroundings, caused us to be able to survive better, why the hell is there still that worse version of us? You see what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense at all. But you can't question things like that because people call you crazy and all this. But literally there has never been a link found. There is no fossil record there to support that theory of evolution. And there is now science that proves that it's really, really unlikely that the theory of evolution is true. I wish that I had that article in front of me that I could read it to you. That would be great, but I just don't have it right now. I got to go and find it again. But at some point in the future, I will do an episode on that article and we'll really go through it and talk about it. But that is the other problem I have with this idea of bringing back dinosaurs through chickens, is you are assuming that chickens evolved from dinosaurs. Not necessarily true. You'd really have to go back and have a clear line in the fossil record to prove that. And I just don't think it's there. It could be. I'm not an expert in the fossil record of chickens, so who knows? But that's an awful big assumption to make. What people need to realize is a lot of times what science is guesswork. If you ever noticed when you're talking about your own body, okay, when you're talking about your health, they never quite know what the hell they're talking about. 1 year, eggs are the very worst thing in the world for you. You definitely don't want to eat those. They will absolutely kill you. It's the worst thing ever. And then another study comes out and, oh, wait a minute, we were wrong. Eggs are the greatest thing on earth. You should eat 100 of them a day, and you should just have eggs surrounding you at all times. Eggs are the greatest thing ever. And then the next study comes out, no, wait, we were right before, eggs suck, right? They never quite know. And it's like that with all kinds of different things. And that's what science is. Science is never settled, okay? I'm going to say that again because that's another one of those things that is a shock to the system when you hear it. Because people think of science like it knows everything. Like, oh, if science says it, it has to be true. Because science knows. They're the scientists, right? They're the ones that have the knowledge. They know everything. Not the case. Science is never settled. Science, by its very nature, is constantly searching for answers. It's constantly questioning and proving and disproving things over and over and over again. Okay, just look at the scientific method. You identify a problem, you have a question about that, form a hypothesis, you test that hypothesis through experiment, you look at your results. If it's successful, you have to duplicate those results over and over and over again to prove it. Just by the very nature of the scientific principles there, you can see that science is not settled. It's never settled. And you hear that all the time with like climate change and global warming and all that garbage. They always say, oh, the science is settled. The science is never, ever settled. Unless you're talking about like the law of gravity or something like that, that is scientific law, that's as close to settled as you're ever going to get. And even the law of gravity isn't really settled because there are ways to have no gravity. not just in space, but here on Earth. When you go in a plane, and I'm sure you guys have seen this, they do that free fall in the plane, where the plane just kind of falls out of the sky for a while, and then everybody inside the plane is completely weightless for a little bit, for like a minute or two, and then they have to pull up so they don't crash, and then you have gravity again. So there's even ways to defeat the law of gravity. So even gravity isn't really settled. So when you're dealing with something as crazy as this idea of bringing back creatures that went extinct way in the past. Okay, you're talking prehistoric animals that went extinct, and you're trying to take cells and you're trying to take genetic material from thousands and thousands of years ago, and you're trying to bring it back to life. That is not only extremely hard, but to get it to work properly, that's going to be mind-blowingly hard. They did bring that one cell back to life, which is amazing, but it didn't last very long until it died again. They couldn't get it to replicate, and that's kind of really important. Now, will they ever get there? Possibly, yes. At one time, there would have been people that told you it was impossible to bring a dead cell back to life, especially when it had been dead so long, that it couldn't be done. But we see that it was done. They did it. So will they ever get to the point to where they can actually cause these cells to not only replicate, to split and form new cells, but also to replicate the DNA, the genetic structure that tells you what you are, that holds all the information in the genome of everything about you, how to make your fingernails, how to make your fingers, how to make your hair, how to make freckles, how to, make your organs. All that information is packed into that genome. Will they be able to cause a cell to duplicate, split and duplicate, and carry that genetic material with it so it knows what the hell it is and how to make you? Maybe. Now, there would have been a time I'd have said hell no. But maybe. With the way the science of genetics is going, and with the leaps and bounds that they are advancing this thing in, it's impressive, guys. It really is. And I'm going to say that's a strong maybe. Will it be in the next 5 to 10 years? I seriously doubt it. Unless they are extremely further along than what they're pretending they are now. Which also, very possible. Because we know things that they've been able to do with genetic manipulations of animal species, such as human-animal chimeras and stuff like that, that are documented true, that they've done, that they claim they can't do. So they could be a whole hell of a lot further along in this than the public actually knows, as far as the technology to do it. So it's possible, maybe. So I'm going to throw back over to Old Boy, and I want to get his opinion on these 3 articles, what he thinks about it, and if he thinks it's a good idea to try to bring these things back to life, and what some of the potential downfalls might be.
Thank you, brother. And I enjoyed it. And this is one of my favorites because I like dinosaurs and I like prehistoric animals. The mammoths were always an awesome thing I liked. And I've been hearing they're going to bring them back for a long time. And I will tell you this, I think they will do that. Is it a good idea? I don't know. I don't think it's a bad idea. Now, the lions, the cave lions, I think that's not a good idea because they were vicious cats. There's no need to do it. But they did bring the lager, mix the tiger and a lion together, and now they have this giant mutant tiger that's domesticated. It's huge. It's like stands up 12 and a half feet, 1,300 pounds, called Hercules. There's a couple of them. So I think it won't be a full mammoth. It'll get close, but it'll have a lot of similarities. But it'll never be 100%. It'll probably be about 90, 99, 95, somewhere around there. But it'll be a little bit different, but it'll be pretty much similar. Now, the whole dinosaur thing, I'll get into that in a minute. Now, with the other article, it's pretty much same thing other than doing it a little bit different. I think they're both getting both there. I think it's going to take maybe 5 10 years. It will happen. Some country will have enough money to get somebody to do this, and they'll figure it out soon. And they're getting closer every day because, they're getting the materials to do everything. Technology is getting better. We can do a lot of things now. So, just recently they're talking about they're almost getting done with cancer, and they're helping people with AIDS get rid of AIDS. So they're getting close on a lot of things. But this is going to be awesome with the whole bringing dead cells back. But there is a downfall of that, and I'll talk about that in a minute. I don't think they're just doing it to bring the mammoths back. I think they're figuring out how to bring other things back. And I don't think that's a good idea. That means you're trying to bring somebody dead back. I think that's what it's all going to come back to. And I don't know if that's a good idea. Because I believe you died. You're done. Now, with the mammoth thing, we kind of, cavemen kind of wiped them out. So in fairness, we're some of the problem. We were some of the problem at the time. I don't have a problem with mammoths coming back. Tasmanian tigers, even though they're saying they're seeing them again, but they should bring those back. Stuff like that. I had an article about that too, but we didn't get time to read it. That maybe down the line we're going to do a show about the Tasmanian tiger because it's one of my favorite creatures. I hope they bring those back. If they're saying there still exists, they've seen it, so we don't know yet. But like saber-toothed tigers and cave lions, saber-toothed tigers are vicious. There's no need for them. At a zoo, you're going to have them running around. What's the point? They're going to be stuck at a zoo forever. Mammoths, you can actually put them out in population, and we'll have different elephant. Maybe we can bring back a lot of the species that were killed off by us recently, like different, dolphins and different animals that we can bring back. That would be cool. But now getting to the dinosaur part, we all seen the Jurassic Park movies, and they don't end well. Bringing back dinosaurs is not a good idea. And I know people are going to get mad. Why not? We saw what happened with Jurassic Park. And if they made something like that, that could happen. Not only that, you're always going to have some scumbag trying to sell them the embryos to make money, like the first one. So you're going to get somebody getting their hands on it and don't need to have them. And they're going to make some kind of weapon out of them. That's what they want to do. When it all comes down to it, the governments want to use these things as weapons for somehow. And they want to get their how they can grow tails after being cut off and ripped. It's always something. There's some kind of hidden agenda they want. They'll make a lot. Bringing dinosaurs, what are you going to do? Have 100-foot giant dinosaur running the earth? It ain't going to happen. Even if you put them in a park, somebody's going to get one of these things and let it out. Because you see recently, like the lady who jumped in I think it was a jaguar or tiger, had to take a picture of it to try to free it and got attacked and almost killed. People don't get it. They watch something and they think, they're getting tortured. So you're going to have somebody trying to release these things. And if they can hybrid it, like the last movie, where the thing got hybrided and with they put different species together and made like this ultimate dinosaur, that's not good. Because they were going to use them as weapons. And that's why I don't think dinosaurs should ever come back. They'll probably do it one day. It's not a good idea. What are they going to do? Drop these things back in the ocean? Like the Megalodon, the giant 70-foot shark, 80-foot shark? Or the plesiosaur? They're huge. You don't need something like that flying in the ocean. They'll kill you. They'll eat boats. We don't need any of this coming around. Trust me, I love dinosaurs. My favorite. But these things don't need to be running around. Imagine a T-Rex running around, 45-foot giant dinosaur, trying to eat your car. 6-7-foot raptors that have they're smarter than us, and they just pick you off one by one. That's stupid. These things shouldn't be brought back. But they're going to do it. We all know that. And like James says, we don't know if it's from a chicken. That's just speculation, like all science is, all speculation. No one really knows the truth. You won't know the truth till you die. But other than that part of it, is no one's they're taking, they know a little bit, but they're taking their opinions. Yes, some dinosaurs did have feathers, but there was dinosaurs that were not just birds. They were in the reptile family. The alligators are one of them. So, and the sharks were here too. Had nothing to do with just with birds. And there was dinosaurs that lived in the ocean. There was some that had feathers. That is true. We really don't even know what dinosaurs look like. They just, or what they sound like. We took a guess from the movie. So people just think dinosaurs sound like Jurassic Park. We don't know what they really sound like. We don't even know what they really look like. We're taking a guess. And I mean, we have pictures of their skeletons and stuff, so we make what it would probably look like. And it's pretty close, but it's not 100% fact. They're just, that's with everything. They're taking a shot in the dark. And we don't really know what these things look like. Now, like the mammoth, we pretty close because we have elephants. We have their ancestors here. So other than being furry and long tusk, and they were very muscular creatures, we know pretty much what they look like. Just like saber-toothed tigers, they were a little bit different looking, but we pretty much got an idea what they look like. Dinosaurs, we don't. We don't really know what they look like. We're taking shots in the dark. But that's what science does. It tries to prove with scientists and research that this stuff looks like this, and this is how it's going to look. We don't really know if it's a chicken. It's a shot in the dark. And they know how to manipulate it, and they did with the chicken. They have. They like you said, he was making the beak into a straight a dinosaur mouth, or in little claws. They did that already. I've already seen this. But what I'm saying is we don't know if that's what its truth is. They're taking a shot in the dark. So when people think science is 100% fact, it's not, because you're just seeing, oh, well, they said that happened, so that must be real. Like James said, a couple years ago, eggs were bad for you if you ate them all the time. Now you can eat 100 eggs a day. It goes back and forth. Lettuce, what is it? Romaine lettuce was great for you a couple years. Now you can die from it, from whatever that salmonella, I think it is, or there's some other stuff that was getting people sick, that bacteria. You don't know. People go back and forth all the time. Before it was drink this much water, now it's drink all this water. And it matters what your body is, because some people can't drink all that water. It matters the person. Not everybody's the same. That's one thing everybody's got to realize. People's bodies work different, just like everything. I'm just showing you an example. So we don't know what really these things look like. We're just taking guess that the science are, because they gone to school, they're smart, they research this is what their ideas and what they think it looks like, and they're probably close to it. It's not 100% fact. Nothing's 100% fact. Just like James was saying, nothing is 100% fact to it's there in our face. When we make a dinosaur, then we can figure out what it pretty much looked like. And until we do that, and remember, I also believe they're saying that there's still some around, and they've done stuff and made, experiments and stuff. So we really don't know the truth on that either. Especially me and James, we do the show, the Loch Ness Monster, Champ. There's stuff that's still there. The Megalodon, Cortez Sea, the giant squid. These things, the squid exists. So that was said it wasn't before either. So the Siliphan, James has talked about that thing numerous times. The prehistoric fish that now it's been found again. They just genetically made a mosquito with 180 million year genes that we haven't seen in 180 million years, that they have replicated into a mosquito recently. That's something else I forgot to tell. I was reading about that today. So we can do this, and it will happen. The mammoths I'm fine with, and some other little creatures that died, that we were responsible killing, but like the Tasmanian tiger and other stuff. But dinosaurs, no, but they're going to do it. We both know there's too much money to make in it. That's what it's all coming down to, how much money they're going to make off of this. Somebody's going to replicate Jurassic Park. It's going to happen. Is it going to happen in 10, 15, maybe 100 years? It's going to happen. Is it right? No. Can I stop it? No. People want to make money. That's all that matters. When you prove, just like with Bigfoot, say they ever found one of these creatures we all look for. They're going to exploit it, make more, and eventually in 50 years, after you've seen it 1,000 times, no one's going to care, just like a zoo. And it's going to become another animal in the zoo because you've seen it now. So that's my opinion on all this. I really don't think it's a good idea to ever bring dinosaurs back, but they're going to do it. Mammoths, great idea. It's going to happen. Excited. But these other things, no. No dinosaurs. Sorry. That's my opinion. People are going to get mad. Oh, I know everybody. I love dinosaurs just like anybody else. I would love to see one. But does it mean we have the right to do it? Like he said in the movie in Jurassic Park, just because we can doesn't mean we should. And I agree with that opinion. They had their time. We don't need these things here. And that's my opinion.
I think way too often that's exactly what science does. They look at the wrong question. Like old boy just said, way too often they go, can we do this? Instead of saying, should we do this? They dealt with that question during the Manhattan Project when they were coming up with the atomic bomb, which later led to the hydrogen bomb and now the thermonuclear bomb that can literally pretty much wipe a country off the map. There was a point in that project where the scientists working on it were like, whoa, what the hell are we doing? We shouldn't be doing this. This is crazy. But it was too late because they had already gotten so far in the project that it was guaranteed it was going to be built by somebody. So if it wasn't built by us, it would be built by somebody else. But the real question is, why? Why should we do this? Why do we need dinosaurs back on Earth? Why do we need the woolly mammoth back on Earth? Why do we need cave lions? There's no reason to have these creatures. Earth is so overpopulated by people now, there's almost no wild places left outside of like reserves and places like that. There's not a whole lot of wild land left for these things to exist in. Now, granted, you have, like up in the Arctic, you could put something. You have some areas in Alaska, up in the north of Alaska in the bush, where there's a lot of space where there is not a lot of people. You have Siberia. You have places like that, some of the rainforest and jungle like that. But they're eventually going to be populated as well, because the thing about people, we just keep making more people because everybody wants kids. So you're just going to keep having more and more people. So do we even have room for these creatures? If they serve no purpose other than our own amusement, what's the point? Now, I assume maybe if you bring mammoths back, you could farm them for meat, because there's a hell of a lot of meat on a mammoth, so you could bring these things back from extinction, give them life in order to make them big and fat and slaughter them so we can eat them. I guess you could do that, but that doesn't seem right, does it? To bring something, play God, and to bring something back to life like that just to kill it and eat it. But I don't see any other purpose they could really serve. We don't have room for them. We definitely don't have room for 100, 200-foot dinosaurs. That's insane. And we have no idea what any of these things were actually like. I mean, realize we're basing our knowledge on these creatures. Dinosaurs, mammoths, cave lions, all these creatures on bones. And in many cases, not even complete skeletons. Like, you'll go to a museum and you'll see this giant, awesome skeleton of a dinosaur, right? But first of all, it's not actual bones. That is plastic. Not real. Supposedly, it is molded off of real dinosaur bones. That's what they tell you. But when you actually dig into it a little bit, you realize that some of the species that they claim to have full skeletons of on display, it's plastic skeletons is what it is. And it is based on not a complete skeleton at all. In some cases, all they have is a single bone. And from that, they're trying to extrapolate out what the animal would look like. and form a full skeleton from it. But that's all we have is some bones. Keep in mind that the entire time I was growing up, the T-Rex, the Tyrannosaurus Rex, was the scariest, most badass dinosaur on the planet. He was like Godzilla on steroids. He would whoop your ass and slap your mama. He was a bad, bad man. Then come to find out, not so bad after all. Kind of weak. As a matter of fact, when you would see T-Rexes in the museums, they were all standing up on their hind legs like Godzilla was, with their little bitty stubby arms and scary old mouth. They looked fearsome. But then we learned that, oh, wait a minute, that's not real, because a T-Rex couldn't actually stand up that way at all. In the reality of the situation, if a T-Rex stood up on its hind legs the way we all have been taught that it did, it would break its own spine, because it simply couldn't support it. In reality, what the T-Rex was, what the theory is now, was a scavenger. Its head was not towering 50 feet above the ground. Its head was a few feet off the ground. And its tail was the exact opposite side, a few feet off the ground. And it kind of just ran around and scavenged other kills. So it wasn't so fearsome after all. We all grew up thinking that all dinosaurs were these scaly reptiles. Then we find out some of them had feathers. They don't really know. It's guesswork. And it's always changing. Now that's not to say that there are not specialists and paleontologists that know what they're talking about. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is we don't know for sure on a lot of these things, and we definitely don't know for sure the behavioral patterns and the temperament of these creatures. We have no idea what they were actually like. We are all guessing off of a few bones. That's all we have to go on. We have no idea. So do you think that it is a smart idea to bring back a 50-foot, a 100-foot, sometimes 300 or 400-foot dinosaur that could easily eat us? And we have absolutely no idea, in all reality, of the temperament of this creature, of the actual intelligence of this creature. Now, science claims that dinosaurs had little pea brains, and they were just big, dumb animals. But now we learn that the raptor actually pretty damn smart. It would hunt in groups. It could communicate with each other. So how much do we really know? Do you want to bring back 100-foot tall genius creatures that could eat you? Because that's a possibility. I know I wouldn't want to face a raptor, and that damn thing's only 6 or 7 feet tall. It's my size. But it's fully capable of killing me in a heartbeat. And I am a very smart man. My IQ is over genius level. I'm very smart. It's probably as smart as me. Maybe even smarter. Who knows? Now take that and multiply it by 10. Think of a 60-foot dinosaur. What if it's that smart too? How are you going to contain it? Not a good idea. Now, old boy is right. It's probably going to happen. I think the only reason it hasn't happened yet is because they can't do it yet. They're actively trying. You have multiple scientists from multiple countries actively trying to do this. So it's not a matter of should we do it. It's not a matter of, hey, you guys want to go do this? They're trying to do it 100%. The only reason it's not done is because they can't do it yet. But they will eventually. So it is coming. I guess just try to be ready in whatever way you can to kill a dinosaur if need be. I know that's kind of being dramatic, and it is for effect that I'm being that dramatic because I don't actually believe that dinosaurs will be roaming down your street trying to eat you. But who knows what the hell will happen? That's all I'm saying. You know, if they try to set up zoos where they have these things all over the world, which will probably eventually happen, I'm sure it'll start off in one attraction, but I'm sure it'll branch out, just like Disneyland did, into Disney World and then Euro Disney and all that. I'm sure the same thing's going to happen, to where eventually you're going to have multiple sites that have these things. Hell, it might be to where every zoo in America and around the world might have their own versions. You know, have one or two dinosaurs. So just imagine you live in a city somewhere and your zoo in your city has one of these things and it breaks loose into the city. What's going to happen? I mean, even a little 6-7 foot raptor gets loose in the middle of the city. You're talking about a lot of dead people before that thing can be put down. So I don't know. I just think it's a crazy idea. I think it's stupid to do. But I do think it will be done. And I don't think there's a hell of a lot we can do to stop it. Unless you're talking some kind of Terminator situation where you go back and find the people that decided to do it and then try to get rid of them before they do it or something. But time travel is not possible either, so I don't know what to tell you guys. But I hope that you enjoyed this episode. It was a fun one. This one was kind of almost all Old Boy because this was his deal. He sent me these articles. He's really into this kind of stuff, and he's really excited about it. And I thought, hey, let's do this show, and it'll be fun to do, and I hope that you enjoyed it. So I'm going to throw back over to Old Boy and let him give his shout-outs now.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, I did enjoy it, and I did want to do this one. I've been wanting to do it for a while. We've had a lot of people say what's they actually wanted to hear about mammoths and dinosaurs, so we did it. I want to thank everybody from ParaX, 6,000 subscribers on YouTube and counting. You guys want to listen to our old shows or new shows, subscribe to James Hershey's YouTube page. Check out episode 3 of Tales from the Abyss with James Hershey in Virginia. And he'll tell you more about that. And you guys can see that on his YouTube page. And remember, not the singer, the guy with the bald head. I always say it. Check out some of his one of his 4 books, the Legion series, and he has another book. He'll let you know about that, but you can pick those up on Barnes and Noble and other pretty much anywhere. I think Amazon. You guys check them out. Really great books. And we got merchandise store, and he'll tell you where to go on that one in a minute. And I want to thank every one of you guys. I hope you guys have a blessed night. I really enjoy doing this show, guys. Like I said, eventually you might be seeing us on a TV station near you one day. Not right now, but you never know. Just that's all I'm going to say. A little surprise for you guys. But I hope everybody has a great night. Monster hunters, demon lovers, misfits, and sugar ladies. I love you. Blessed be. Have a great night, guys.
The YouTube page is youtube.com/James Hershey Jr. That's where you can find all the old shows, a bunch of other videos we do, and our TV show Tales from the Abyss is there. We just finished episode 3, working on episode 4, so I hope you guys go check that out. The merchandise store is teespring.com/stores/staring into the abyss. That's teespring.com/stores with an S on the end /staring into the abyss. That's where all the merch is. There's everything from shirts and hoodies and stuff like that, all the way to posters and pillows and coffee mugs and the whole 9. So if you guys want merch, that's where you can go to find it. Old Boy brought up my books. They're available on BarnesandNoble.com, BooksAMillion.com. Walmart has them. Amazon has them both in Kindle and paperback. And the first 2 are actually on audiobook too through Audible.com. It's the I Am Legion series. It's I Am Legion, The Surrogate of Souls, and The Rise of the Revenant. That trilogy. And then I have another novel, and the name of that one is called The Wind Spirits. They're all available in all those places. So If you want to check them out and read them, please be my guest. I think they're pretty damn good. They did really well. They were all made bestseller lists and all that kind of stuff. So I think they're good novels, and I hope that you guys check them out and enjoy them. I set the price on the Kindle versions all the way down to 99 cents. So you guys can just get into it. You can get all 4 novels for like $4 on Kindle if you have a Kindle. So that's a hell of a deal. The paperback's more expensive, but I don't really have a lot of control over the cost of the paperback. The only thing I can actually really control is the cost of the Kindle. Now I can change on Amazon, at least I can change the price of the paperback, but Amazon keeps changing it back. I guess they don't like it to be cheaper. They want it to be more expensive. So I really have no control over that. And like Walmart and Books A Million and Barnes & Noble and all those places, they set their own prices. I have nothing to do with that. But I think you'll really dig them. So if you want to check them out, please do, and let me know what you think. Thank you guys so much for all your support and all your love. We greatly appreciate you. And until we speak to you again, love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do we. Bye-bye.